Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. As we end of the day, won't keep you all too much longer. The interesting talk today with Roland basically is that everybody talks about green. Malacca talked about green, livable. So why is fiber sustainable and green? So basically, Roland had shared some of the points, and there's a separate report done by Roland for Europe and for the FTTH Council. My good friend Roland will share his problem statement and his findings. Thank you, Roland. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Shah, for your kind introduction. So indeed, at IDATE, we produce a white paper demonstrating that fiber is here to lower carbon emission. We will present an update of this report this year at the next Mobile World Congress in Barcelona at the end of the month, because as you know, in Europe and in some other parts of the world, telcos are today aware that they have to lower their carbon emission, but not only telco, also some verticals. Indeed, in this research, we have tried to measure what it is the role of ICT technology, not only fiber, but all ICT technology, to be a key enabler on CO2 emission reduction. For that, after we have tried among ICT technology to do a focus on fiber and to demonstrate what is the role of fiber on lowering carbon emission. And the goal of this research has been to draw attention of several industry players. We went on the field. We had more than 30 interviews with different verticals, trying to examine with them what is today the carbon printing and how they can save energy and carbon emission using fiber. Next. We all know that today the mankind is facing environmental challenge. There is the demographic context, and here Asia is well involved in this. There is also an increased complexity in our world in terms of bandwidth consumption. We have seen that COVID pandemic has accelerated this complexity. And in front of this, we are facing exigence of abatement need from, in 2021, nearly 10 ton of CO2 emission per year to an objective in 2050 of 2, so divided by 5 by human to be in line with the objective to save carbon emission. Next. What has been demonstrating, it has at the horizon of 2030, you see the baseline in terms of CO2 emission in green. ICT technology can reduce this carbon printing by 12 gigaton of CO2, which is huge in an equation. This is one point. And furthermore, you see in blue what is the CO2 footprint for ICT technology. So this footprint is very low. So that's why ICT can play a major role. They can do an abatement significant, and themselves, they are not consuming a lot of CO2 compared to other part of the industry. Next. Also, what has been demonstrating is that if you compare the energy consumption for the same quantity of bandwidth, we take here the example of a 7 gigabyte per month consumption per line, then a fiber connection is 10 times less greedy than a 4G connection. It is 4 times less greedy than a PSTN connection and 3 times less greedy than a XDSL connection. So it demonstrates here that on his DNA, fiber technology is less greedy in terms of power consumption and then less greedy in terms of carbon emission. Next. As I was saying, we went on mainly 5 verticals to question them about how they run their plants. And we were confirmed, we were quite surprised even sometimes to find, again, a lot of wireless technology being used in those verticals. I'm not saying here that fiber can replace everywhere, of course, wireless technology. There is a true usage sometimes for wireless technology, but in some cases, even the CTO we were interrogating were not really aware that deploying fiber can make them save power. It means saving money also in today's context, and save energy. Then they are finding, some of them are finding some solution to be more in line with their green objective. Like in smart manufacturing, we have seen virtual twins being proposed, cloud-based machine control also, I propose. In a smart home, we were talking today of fiber to the room, for example, home automation is there also, remote energy management. In smart campus, there is more and more what they call universal connectivity and also smart building. In energy, of course, smart grid is more and more using fiber, or big data-driven energy also. And in transportation, well, the reduction through teleworking is one of the main drivers. We have seen that among the 12 gigaton of economy of CO2 emission, among those 12 megaton, fiber only can represent an abatement effect of 1.6 gigaton in terms of CO2, which is not negligible, I would say, in the total amount of this. Finally, next, we can see, I can present here all the verticals, but for smart campus, for example, you see here in green what can be the whole fiber network smart campus cumulated CO2 saving if they implement new technology in terms of network. It is, for example, the pole technology that can be deployed in the campus, replacing quite a lot of some segment of the network being in wireless. And by doing this, the amount of CO2 that you can save in terms of megatons is huge. The same for smart manufacturing. Here also you can see the amount of cumulated CO2 saving that can be done only by auditing your plant and replacing fiber when it can be done. So there is today really a work to be done to go in the field, to discuss more and more with the verticals and demonstrate them that fiber can be the right tool to save CO2 reduction. I think that the Fiber Network Council APAC can have also this role to audit and to demonstrate to those verticals by using fiber they can save power and they can save energy. If you want to know more about this, you can go on our website and download also our report. Thank you.
Thank you, Roland. Just for the participants here and the audience here, you would ask, fiber and 5G, are they together or separate? Water and oil. One is wireless, one is fixed. Do they coexist? Basti. Any others input? Wireless and fiber, is it necessary together? So, okay, all right. So what Roland is presenting basically is that if you move more into fiber, the less RF you're propagating. All the towers today are microwave links, about 40 to 50% are still microwave links. If you move that to fiber, you have CO2 abatement. That's number one. And this morning when Ms. Bawani was here, Madam Bawani was here, and I told her I'm from this MSCA, we are doing the standards together with MIDATE for the government of Malaysia. If MCMC only looks at ITU as their governance and not ESG and SDG and the UN. MITE is very, very championing, and the state governments are looking at SDG and ESG and all the sustainable goals. Where do the telcos, will they do it? Will they do compliance to carbon? Is it necessary for them? Or make more profits for Mr. Ananda Krishnan or Mr. Vincent Tan or the shareholders? Will they do green? They won't do green because they will make more profit. Why should I do green? You understand or not? If you're a businessman, would you put more things with higher cost for the sake of green? You won't do it. So one of the questions I have for Roland basically is that, where in Europe are they saying they must do as shareholders? I don't care about profit, I want to make sure I'm green. Can you share that experience, Roland?
What we see in Europe and also in other countries is that there is today a clear action from the government to ask the industry to lower their carbon emission. This is a global government program, I would say. And then we see also some shareholders wanted to invest only with green players, only with players that are respecting their engagement to be carbon neutral in 10 years, and they have going on several milestones for doing this. If not, they will not invest in operator A, but in operator B that is more engaged in carbon lower emissions. So there is today a clear roadmap among being more virtual in terms of carbon emission.
Thank you, Roland. Just one from your report, one thing you mentioned here about how fiber works with smart grids. Can you explain how carbon abatement in smart grids and power?
Yes, as you know, smart grid is based on a network for piloting those little boxes installed in the houses. So today we see power utilities, even we see power utilities involved in fiber rollout, because they know that this fiber can be used also for the smart grid. We have the example of Ireland, for example, for the power utility going this. I have other example in Western Africa, also with power utilities going fiber and then using fiber for their smart grid. So by doing this, they have in their hands a powerful network to run their smart grid electricity network. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Thank you. The final point basically is that I alluded to earlier is that the mobile operators and the fixed network operators, in the report by Roland in page 6, he has the international organizations, the United Nations, International Maritime Organization, the civil aviation. You know, your planes, they burn a lot of carbon when they fly. So these are the biggest carbon emission guys. But one interesting two organization is the GSMA, Global Mobile Association. They have got a thing called science-based pathway. Roland, can you elaborate what is the GSMA's function on the science-based pathway?
As you know, the GSMA, with the headquarters based in London, is an association of all the mobile operators worldwide, so quite powerful. If we are going to Barcelona this year, you will see that one of the engagement of GSMA for the years to come is to be carbon neutral. And they want all the members of the GSMA to be carbon neutral from 15 years to 10 years. So today, there is a clear mandate inside the GSMA among their members to obey to this carbon neutrality. And this is also educating the investor, because GSMA is very powerful in the world of mobile operators. So this message coming from GSMA, for me, it's a clear message for telcos to be aligned on these carbon neutral objectives.
Thank you, Roland. So with Madam Bawani just now, I told her MCMC has to now also add on ITU, TM Forum, GSMA. They say, oh, mobile has nothing to do with us, but we just give license. And she agreed that MCMC has got a green focus now coming in. And the Chief Network Officer Tajul also mentioned they've got a green plan in their place. So I guess from the perspective of the MSCA, Malaysian Smart City Alliance and MIDE, we are propagating standards, Roland, to have standards that we benchmark to international standards, and therefore we can implement in Malaysia. And very, very important, myself and Dr. Raslan here from MIDE and the MIDE team, is that we need to look at technology, smart cities in a sustainable and green manner. That's our objective, and I would like to thank Roland for his time here and flying all the way from France for this talk, and FCT Asia Safi for giving me the opportunity, and the team, Guven and the rest, Frank and Hatisan, and all the FTH team. A pleasant day and a wonderful exchange with old friends and technology and sharing. Thank you very much, Roland.
Thank you.